Welcome all to episode 283 of the Xbox Expansion Pass, recorded on Saturday, July 26th, 2025. I am your host, Luke Lohr, the Insipid Ghost, as always, joined by my co-host, the Intrepid Captain Logun. Today, we'll be discussing suggestions that PlayStation is indeed heading full multi-platform. Battlefield 6 has a release date, and Xbox has reverted on its price changes from $80 games back down to a much more comfortable $70 games. We'll break that down and more. We hope you enjoy the show. Logan, we like to start the show by offering words of kindness to those who made our gaming weeks better. But first, how are you, my friend?
Doing good. I have been very busy with Redacted, and
is it redacted? Like people can't know that we're touching that one.
I've heard other people say it, but I,
you're playing a little game, a real small game.
Yeah,
it's real small. It's a based game.
Yeah, it's it's very grounded in reality. And as Obsidian, oh shit,
you kind of messed that one up.
I kind of messed that one up. Huh? I've been working on the review for Grounded 2, which I can't say anything about, but I put a lot of hours in. I don't know offhand, but I've been putting a lot of hours in, and there's still stuff that I need to finish before I want to, but just to make sure that I've kind of rounded out those things for the review. But yeah, outside of that, just been packing. I've been packing my little heart out, and I've got almost all of my like collector stuff, all my little pop figures and statues and whatnot. Those have all been packed away.
When are you moving?
Later this, I've got about a month or so.
And when do you have a place yet or no?
No. Okay. Still narrowing down on a place. Things are still kind of like coming together, but just been busy besides working and packing. Trying to work on this review has kind of been the biggest thing. So outside of that, just hanging out with a chick, trying to do some sailing, and getting back into World of Warcraft because Mists of Pandaria kicked off its classic mode, and I had to quit playing World of Warcraft when Mists of Pandaria came out, and I never got to go play in Pandaland. And now that we know like Pandaland was a good expansion, I'm going back in to try it for the first time as a panda loving orc. So that's what that's going. So that's
okay.
That's kind of been what I've been up to, but there's been a lot going on, dude. But how's your week going? I know you've been busy too.
Yeah, I've been real busy. A lot of stuff happened. I had a very busy week, actually, truth be told. But in the gaming space, we had the Grounded 2 interview.
Yeah.
Which went live Wednesday, which was really cool. People got to enjoy that. Obsidian spent more time with me than they were supposed to, but not enough. Like it was definitely not enough. Like I have so many more questions that I want to ask them. But we were one of the first outlets to get like a video up, which was really neat. And it's kind of a neat full circle moment for XEP because for the first Grounded, back when it was published by Private Division, Adam Brennicky came on.
Yep.
So it was neat for me to get to have that moment. But I've been playing Grounded 2 also. That's why we were late today. My bad. And then also I'm working on coverage. Like I'm going to talk about the new Ninja Gaiden game on the next episode.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to have time to make a video review for it. Just because I'm working on the Wolverine stuff. And then I know I've alluded to, and I'm not going to like go into full depth here on XEP, but like some cool stuff's happening for me, but it's very time consuming. I've been the recipient of some positive attention in my field, so that's been nice. But it's in opening doors. It's also bringing lots of work. So I'm very busy in the middle of summer with school stuff, oddly enough. So I've been very busy myself, but it's been good.
As I live and breathe, the Wolverine. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on that thing because that it feels like in since we've been doing the show and since we've been working on hardware, I feel like I've had a much better appreciation for third party controllers
Mm-hmm.
I ever have in like the existence of third party controllers. They've
Mm-hmm.
always been kind of like shoved off to the side as the it's like some Power A stuff or it's Mad Cats or do we
Yeah.
really gotta use like the broken one, you know? And now it's like looking at well, Xbox has closed up their shop. You can't even buy like the clear purple Elite right now.
Mm-hmm.
We have no clue what they're doing. The only hardware that they've announced is the Xbox Ally coming later this year. The last custom controller they put out, as far as I can remember, for purchase is the Wolfenstein one. It's like
Doom.
or not, yeah, not
Oh,
Wolfenstein.
you meant
Doom.
Doom. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, Doom.
Well,
And
they do too many controllers. If they're not upgrading the quality, they should stop because the
well,
Wolverine outpaces everything. And I said on last week's show,
yeah,
using the Wolverine and the quality third party, to your point,
yeah.
it's so good now that it's like y'all first party, you better step it up to PlayStation as well. Like
That's,
that's
I mean, yeah,
do better.
dude, it's wild. Like just even using the Nintendo, the new Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller.
Mm-hmm.
It has the back buttons. It only has one set of back buttons, but those back buttons are flush with the actual like controller handles.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, that's a much nicer feeling way because if you don't want to use the back paddle buttons,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to. And I know the Elite you can remove the paddles, but it's like then you got to keep track of where the little paddles are. And I'm like, there's better solutions out there. Like switch to buttons, make the buttons flush if you want, you know, like have that like be there's so many design elements with the 3D or with the not the 3D, the third party controllers that just surprise me that that's that's where we're at with third party and first party is playing it so safe that you're just kind of bored. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to go back to a normal first party controller. It doesn't even have the capacity to have a back buttons.
I despise not having back buttons. I absolutely despise it. It's so much easier, I guess, because I'm older and it's my reactions are slower. It's much easier to squeeze the back versus like lift my thumb off the right stick to the button, which sounds so silly,
No,
but it
it's
makes
a
a
skill
difference.
thing. It's a skill thing, dude. The amount of brain power it takes to mentally coordinate the muscle movement that involves like, okay, am I going to be jumping or am I going to be hitting? You know, trying hitting Y while turning is not possible. But if you've got back paddles, then you can map Y to a back button. So if you need to switch weapons after you jump and you're turning on a controller, that's just so much simpler. Now,
I thought
obviously,
you were making fun of me at first when you were like, it takes so much brain power. And now I'm like,
no,
yes, I
it,
agree.
it does. It's 100%. It's why in a lot of games that have like a jump button, I will map the jump button to the R3 input because then I can press in, jump, and still turn because the thumb is still on the thumbstick. And
Yeah.
it's just like one of those things. It's like, man, nobody talks about how good third party controllers are these days. They get a bad rap because they're not first party. And you're just like, yeah, but they're doing so much better. Like I was packing up my controllers yesterday and I was like wrapping up all my Turtle Beach ones. And I'm like, I don't have to with this one because it's got a nice little fancy case. I can just put the little case in the little thing right next to my Halo case.
You did, because you did reviews for two Turtle Beach controllers.
Yeah, the Pivot and the Stealth Ultra Elite,
Both good
both
controllers. Yeah.
both good controllers. I'm very curious to hear thoughts on the Wolverine because the Wolverine's been like one of those ones that's like highly touted as like the go-to.
It's it's funny is and real quick, shout out to the nerd chat, Clutch Quando, Warren Henderson, the lovely A chick, and Nissa Hauer in here as well. Good to see you all. Thank you for joining us. I see a few more people trickling in. We appreciate you guys. Please hit that
Yeah.
like button if you don't mind. I tell you, using the Wolverine, Logan, it's like the review. I'm having a hard time like how do I write this review? Because it's the best controller I've ever used, bar none. It's wired. That's my con. Simple. Like there's, what more do you want? It's there. It's so good. And like the simplicity of those statements obviously don't warrant a video review, but like it's that simple in my mind. It's like, I don't want to use this. When I was playing a game on my PC and I had to go back over to my Xbox and I was like, do I want to go get it? And like, yeah, I do. But I had to use the basic controller for a few minutes. I was like, this sucks. And I was like, oh no. This is, I'm a controller snob now. Is this what is this what happens?
It is. And it's even worse when you go from controller to PC and you have a mouse and keyboard, and I can sit there and I can map as many keys as I want as they'll allow me, and I can just because playing World of Warcraft, I literally have like Z, X, C, Q, E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all mapped out, plus a modifier with the shift key. And every single one of those does something different. They're all different spells, which is why it's like I look at that and I'm like, well, how the hell are people thinking that they're going to be able to do a World of Warcraft console edition when they've got freaking 8 buttons to live with, and I'm sitting here with an entire keyboard mapped out plus modifiers? Like, it's just going to be, and they did find a way. Actually, there is a way they're going to be able to do it if they really wanted to. But dude, going back to controller after using mouse and keyboard for a while, and you're just like, I can't aim. I can't fine tune my aim with the thumbstick.
Now, let me tell you, I'm never going to get on board with controller, with keyboard mouse as a way to play games. I just can't do it, buddy. I just can't. I downloaded Warcraft Remastered, and I'm gonna play. Like, I'm excited to play it, but like, no, come on, get real. No. It's bad. Let me rephrase. It's not bad. It's not video games to me.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's not video games to me. So
that's a really interesting perspective. I won't degrade it the way I want to, but I will say that one day there will be something that draws your attention that will only be mouse and keyboard, and that may be the day that you come back to me and say, Halo is so much better on mouse and keyboard.
I hope not. I hope not.
It's all gaming, man. It's all gaming.
It's true. It's true. But I think the traditionality of it is what I enjoy. The counterpoint being, as we do age, it might be easier and more accessible. And that might be the difference, right? But the traditionality, and like, I gotta tell you, one of the dumb, nostalgic, fun things for using this Wolverine wired version is it's kind of fun. Because I sit on the floor to game all the time because that's what I prefer, because I'm weird. But it's kind of fun seeing it plugged up and to my Xbox and my console, the wire on the floor. There's something nostalgic about it. It's not better per se, but it's fun, you know?
I'm going to leave that one alone. I'm not going to even touch the fact that you just like skimmed over the the fact that you play on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, because I stretch all the time.
What's the first topic? Can we get into the show? We gotta go.
I don't know what's.
We gotta move on.
Okay. I like sitting on the floor. It's fun. All right. So we got a couple things on the document, but I do want to give shout outs. My words of kindness are to the people that checked out the Grounded 2 interview and shared it. A lot of people on social shared it for me, and I really appreciate that. Small show makes a world of difference. So we thank you. And so just big shout outs to you guys for watching that one. Did you have specific words of kindness you wanted to say?
I wanted to thank the Obsidian devs, because I've been watching the roundup for that, and if they do happen to listen to this, Chris and Marcus, like they were touching on everyone's like network to go like talk about Grounded 2, and doing those press junkets when you're answering the same 4 questions can be so grueling, and you eventually like get it down to a just like a rehearsed pitch. But it was nice to hear their excitement for the game. And they had a QA that went up that was about an hour long, where they were doing questions from the community, which, before a game launches, doing a Q&A opens yourself up to so many things that you're just like, this could potentially kill the sales of the game if we say the wrong thing, or wear the wrong hat. And I'm really glad that they went ahead and they embraced the community feedback part of their
from Grounded
history
1
with Grounded 1.
Yes.
And I think that was something that I was like going through there. I was like, dude, this is them being full front and honest with them, wanting to hear the feedback from the community and give them an opportunity to like share their voice. And you just don't see studios going out and doing a Q&A on like, you guys got any questions for us about our game before we launch it and ask for money? Because that just like, why would you open yourself up to it? But they did. And I was like, that's pretty impressive for me.
I just appreciated the genuine nature of them. Like they were just so honest about it. And I cannot talk about my Grounded 2 experience, obviously.
No.
But I can say that I've put a lot of time in, and I didn't put time in on Grounded 1. So, all right. First up this week, and we do have a lot to talk about, man. We do have a lot to talk about. So chat, please like, share, and jump in with your thoughts as well. We're going to start off today with Outer Worlds 2. Logan, it was pretty impressive, the showing that we saw at Summer Game Fest and the Xbox Showcase. Outer Worlds 2 looks bombastically more impressive than Outer Worlds 1. They've done a lot of deep dive stuff showcasing just some of the, it's just incredible. And this will be Obsidian's third release this year behind Avowed and Grounded 2. Goodness gracious knows they're the best studio Xbox has right now in terms of both quality and production. At this point, there's just no denying the value that you get when you look at Obsidian at this point. That said, Outer Worlds 1 was kind of in that really good AA space and priced accordingly. I think it was $40-$50, but correct me as you like. But it was not a full priced release. It was not like a $60 game at the time. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'll check. Pretty confident there. That said, Outer Worlds 2 was unceremoniously declared to be the first $80 game for Xbox going forward. Xbox was upping their price to adapt to market conditions. Not Call of Duty, which was going to be a multi-million seller out the gate on multiple platforms, but Outer Worlds 2, which is traditionally thought of as a really good AA type experience, right? And I'm not knocking it, mind you, but a smaller experience than say something like a Fallout, right?
Yeah.
And what really stinks about that price uptick was for all the impressive improvements they've clearly made to the Outer Worlds formula. The majority of the questions that dev team was being asked had to do with the game's price. Not only were games $70, something that wasn't the market norm back when the first Outer Worlds came out, but not only that, they were going to be bumping to $80, which is the first time that's happened, and you're getting a game that people had traditionally bought for $50. So really a lot of stuff hitting against Obsidian's sequel here, which is a shame. Well, Microsoft came back out this past week and rolled that back and said, after, been listening to you and market conditions have changed again in line with current market conditions, is their actual quote. Outer Worlds 2 is now going to launch at $70. Now, that's still $20 more than the first game launched, but it's clearly a response of some kind to the coverage and interest that $80 price tag was garnering, and clearly the market wasn't able to handle that $80 price tag. Now, I'll be first to tell you, Logan, $80 is too much for most video games. Mario Kart World was Nintendo's foray into that one, and I would argue that not having played it, the reception seems to be lukewarm on it en masse. And that's not to say it's not good, right? But like en masse, people don't seem thrilled by Mario Kart at the $80 price tag. And I think very few games can justify $80, with the caveat that some could justify more, right? Like there is a much wider breadth of content here. So there's a lot to break down. I have a lot of thoughts on this, but when you look at Xbox rolling the price forward and then rolling it back, it's not like they had $8 for Doom, arguably a bigger title, multi-platform. Outer Worlds 2 rolling back down to $70. Is 70 still too much for the Outer Worlds? How do you feel about them rolling it back? What's going on?
So I feel like them going with the $80 was their first opportunity to test the waters marketing wise with the $80 price tag. Mario Kart coming out at $80. I arguably don't think that right now at launch that game needed to be that much, which is why I went with the bundle where I was going to get it for 50, because I think $50 is a much more reasonable ask for what they put into the game. That will remain the case until they start pumping out DLC. The fact that half of the people that I like to play in Mario Kart isn't even in the game right now has kind of like waned on my enjoyment of it. Not being able to have Link or some of the other characters in there is kind of like, oh, that sucks. I was kind of hoping we'd get like more of a Smash Brothers style with the new one,
because it was like Smash Kart and Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, and that was fun. But then looking at, because I fully anticipate Sony to do the same thing when Sony has a game to release, and it being 80 for Outer Worlds 2 was their first. I'm gonna pick up a trophy room is popping up. It's like you watch
Can't
a
even
movie.
spell. He's an idiot.
I know. God, it's casual box. Can't wait for Ghost. God, it's gonna be so good. Outer Worlds 2 being Xbox's next major first party launch was their opportunity to test the market. They put up pre-orders for $80, and then we've now seen that they are reducing the pre-order price down to 70. To me, this is very much a reflection of them testing the waters. Does Microsoft warrant games at $80? If it does, and people buy that, then they will continue pressing on to move most of their first party titles that are the AAA experiences to that $80 price range and fall in line more with what Nintendo was hoping to do, which was build in a variety of costs. As we've seen Donkey Kong, arguably a much more engaging game than Mario Kart World, selling at 70, but being a kind of standalone experience, whereas Mario Kart will objectively get more content down the line. With Outer Worlds 2, I fully anticipate them releasing expansions the way they did with Outer Worlds 1. I think that those were really good expansions, and they could do better by releasing the game at the standard introductory cost of $70, and then offering expansions down the line, kind of a old school mentality behind game releases. But to me, I would much rather Xbox walk back the price now than have to wait for it to launch, bomb, and then them reduce it afterwards. Because if they reduce the price after the game is launched, people are just going to call it a sale. If they reduce the price now, then it's them listening to the market based on pre-orders. And that says a lot more as a consumer and us voting with our wallet than them not caring, if that makes sense.
No, I mean, you're making good sense. I think the optics are, first of all, the common consumer has no idea that they upped it and dropped it back down.
Yeah.
Optically, this sequel is coming out at $20 more expensive than the first. That's how it's going to look to people that don't pay attention to podcasts, which is the majority of consumers, right? So it's already got that working against it, regardless of its improvements, regardless of Obsidian's pedigree and prominence. And when you look at other games on the market that could be offering more or less value based on time invested, it just raises questions for exploring that price spectrum. Mind you, I don't think time invested is equatable to dollars spent every time. It's not a universal catch-all, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing that's an issue. And I dropped a comment in the Trophy Rooms podcast earlier this week, and I really stand by it. It's that at $80, you need to really love that IP and be really invested to buy in at that price. You need to be getting a worthwhile value there, because that is a lot of money, particularly given the current economic states of so many places where consumer spending was able to be higher 5 years ago, even, right? And that was pandemic times. That's the issue, right? $80 does not travel far in the number one market where Xbox is available. It just doesn't. And so you got a red flag there in and of itself. And we've been fortunate to talk to Matt Piscatella before, and he's been out making the rounds, and he's actually a part of one of our next stories. But he's talked a lot about how younger generations, one, don't have that money to just willy-nilly spend about, and two, don't have the ability to just go out and get it because their current economic conditions are so tight. You said in our private chat, Outer Worlds was 60 at launch.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was 50. So either way, bumping up $10, right? $10 more. I think the $70, $80 price points, typically you're thinking steel books, you're thinking art books, you're thinking digital upgrades and stuff like that. This is, to me, a big ask, regardless of Outer Worlds 2's quality. It's a hard thing to say.
Yeah. And I do want to speak to that because there's been some discussion, especially over on the nerd chat. There was the conversation around quality versus value, and or not quality, price versus value. Like, what does it cost, and is them reducing the game trying to indicate anything about what they think the quality of the game will be versus how much it's worth? And I think the fear here is that people might find out about this, hear that they're reducing the price, and think that Xbox doesn't value Outer Worlds 2 to be a $80 game. Whereas I think this was more marketing and less about like how good the game is going to end up being. Because with Avowed and Grounded 2 coming out, I feel like the studio is firing on all cylinders, and I feel like they're confident in the quality of Outer Worlds 2. You know, we'll have to play it to be able to know for sure, but based on Outer Worlds 1 and the feedback that they've received, I'm excited to play Outer Worlds 2, knowing that the stuff that I took umbrage with, that I had issues with, were all common conversations with the community, and that the devs were aware of those issues, and that they're going to try and alleviate that with the second iteration. So whether it's $70 or $80, that's going to come down to everyone's personal budget. I think that kids these days probably aren't even looking at Outer Worlds 2. I think that they are still very content with some of the games like Repo or I just blanked on the other one, but the inexpensive low graphics games on like Roblox. Yeah, that's one of them. There's another one on Steam. I can't remember what the heck it's called, but Jeff Keighley was touting it as one of like the most sold games.
Is that the drug dealer one?
Yeah, whatever it looked like. But those are the games that the kids care about right now. Like, they don't care about the story based AAA experiences, because they don't have they're not shelling out $70 to be able to buy those. Maybe they'll go with one that's like a Spider-Man, and that may be like the one that draws them in because there's an IP connection, a nostalgia that they want to experience. But I would say adults are the ones that are looking at Outer Worlds 2 and trying to debate on whether it is. And honestly, that's the waning market, right? Like, we're the ones that are slowly crawling our way to the old folks home, controller in hand, and not willing to give up on our hobbies. and us wanting to spend more on them is something that's just us being conservative with our time and with our money, because at this point, time is the ultimate currency that we're playing against. And if you're going to charge more for a game, that is going to eat into my decision on whether or not that game is going to get time.
I think that, first of all, very well said. Also, you said controller in hand, thus allowing me to win our previous argument. Thank you. Warren Henderson says Avowed was a cheaper game and got called a cheap value game. Ooh, I don't know that I agree that that's the reason, but I loved Avowed. I truly did. And I think if Avowed was multi-platform, its reception would have been even better. And I'm not trying to argue an Xbox tax meta as my mainstay argument, but I do think there exists a level of scrutiny amongst exclusives, no matter what. That when multi-platform, that's less prominent, I think.
I'm looking at Avowed, and according to Steam database, which is where they're pretty good about retaining a lot of the metadata that comes in with games, including price. The standard edition for Avowed was $70. The premium was $90. I'm trying to verify this. Yeah, verifying this on Obsidian's website. Avowed Digital Standard Edition is $70 or play it day one on Game Pass. So not sure I agree with the facts that Warren's putting in.
I thought it was a little cheaper, but maybe not.
I don't remember it being cheaper. I remember it being standard.
Yeah. Either way, that's one of my 2 games of the year right now.
Yeah, Avowed is fantastic.
Like, I love Avowed.
Genuinely, love the exploration in that game. Love the combat. It's the first time I've done first-person combat where it felt compelling to be a melee character in a game. That I was just like, oh, this feels good. Like Cyberpunk kind of hit that, but very few games give you a sense of impact or weight when you're playing in first person with melee.
Right.
And Avowed did a fantastic job with that. So that's one of, like, hands down to Avowed. It was very much worth the money, in my opinion.
I think very worth us addressing the Trophy Room's comment here. Xbox dead. Trust me. Dead. I'm for real. About it, please believe. Following up with, I'm young, for real. No cap. !
I believe it.
He sounds young, honestly. Yeah. He sounds hip, in tune with the youth.
Yeah. He definitely doesn't sound like the type of kid that would beg to be unbanned if he got banned.
Yeah, exactly. Had to go to the Better Business Bureau to get his Fortnite account back. Crazy kid.
Man, that's lucrative.
One of the things I mentioned, well, actually, no, I want to finish up with this $70, $80 kind of transition price point, because the $80 price point never seemed to exist, right? Like, it didn't happen for Xbox. They were 70 at Doom, 70 at Avowed, apparently, and they'll be 70 at Outer Worlds. So $80 didn't even happen for Xbox. But I'm curious, does this mean, because if they adjusted if they adjusted for Outer Worlds 2 for current market conditions, what does that mean for Call of Duty? Is Call of Duty launching at $80 or $70? Now they've put forth a situation where, once again, as an Xbox consumer, we have to ask questions about stuff that should be normal, right? What's the price of a normal Xbox game? I don't know. Obviously, the answer is get it on Game Pass, but what if you're on PlayStation? What if you don't want to purchase Game Pass, whatnot? And then the other element of Call of Duty, for my money, is that with Battlefield 6's announcement, I'm really excited to see Battlefield 6 give Call of Duty a run for their money. Caveat, Black Ops is not my favorite. I prefer Modern Warfare, and it's another year where we're doing Black Ops. But that pressure of Battlefield, does that influence the market price of Call of Duty? I don't know.
It's one of those things that it's in the future, so it's not something I'm going to worry about today. And I don't think that consumers, to our point, I think you made a really strong point, is that consumers that buy games probably don't care or even find out about this stuff until they actually go to buy it. Too often, I play Sea of Thieves, and just the other day, like, people hopped onto a ship that a chick was sailing. They saw how many chests she had, and they thought she was cheating because she had a whole bunch of chests that normally would take a very long time to get, not realizing there was an event in the game that was actually giving them that many chests. And constantly a reminder that most people play games in the moment, don't follow the game news, and generally don't pay attention to shifts in the market until they're actually going to go buy something. And at that point, if they're buying something, they're probably going to be willing to actually just fork over whatever it is that's being asked, because to them, it's they don't quite follow the trend. So I anticipate Call of Duty being a $70 game. If it's not going to budge with Outer Worlds 2, and that's the test bed, then they would have to think extremely highly of themselves. And I guarantee you that they've already got people who've been playing and working on Call of Duty and are already like kind of working with marketing, being like, look, this is going to be good, but it's not going to be great to justify an 80 baseline. And I could be wrong about that, but I would be very surprised to see them go with 80 when, Black Ops 6, or not Black Ops 6, what's it called?
Black Ops 7?
No, the Battlefield. Battlefield 6 coming out. The Battlefield already lost in the last installment with 2042 when they launched their game at $70, and people were sitting there looking at Warzone and stuff and thinking like, well, why would I spend $70 to get this when I've got Warzone for free? So I would be very surprised if Battlefield thinks they can get to 80, that would they would be killing their game again.
80's too much for most games.
Yeah.
Even Call of Duty. The last thing you want to do is alienate your casual, I buy Call of Duty every year gamer.
Yeah.
Right? I think Grand Theft Auto 6 can get away with that because it's a once every other generation at this point type game, and there's a lot of value within it. But even for all the value of Call of Duty, and I've gone on record and I will say again, Call of Duty is a tremendous buy. You get 3 modes. You get a PvE, you get a campaign, you get a PvP. And they're good. They're all very good. Even the worst one, according to the masses, was Modern Warfare 3. I thought that was really good. You get so much value there, but $80 is an alienate your normal buyer price. $70 is pushing it as food gets more and more and more expensive. Right? Yeah. I'm looking at doing some schooling and going for a few more degrees. And that was one of the things I was alluding to. School's expensive. If I want letters after my name, then I'm buying less video games, plain and simple, because food is already pushing our budget, and we don't have children. We have a puppy. She's a cute beauty, by the way, Miss Calliel. I love her. It's too much, and so I really hope they keep that price down and they stay in their lane. Because if anybody has to stay in their lane, it's Xbox, and PlayStation themselves are starting to have to change too. Go ahead.
This was the argument that we were talking about, like with them going multi-platform. They had to find money somewhere, right? They had to find money to pay for the games in the billion-dollar company that they're in. So going multi-platform was the way to expand the market and get sales where they previously hadn't had them. So why are they pushing the boundaries with now the cost of games when games that are doing $40 are doing so well? Grounded, I think, is going to be like $30 or $40 when it comes out on the 29th. And it's like, okay, well, that is a better introductory cost for a sequel than $70, let alone $80. And you're going to tell me that you had to expand the market to other platforms to make up costs and sales because the hardware wasn't selling as well as you expected it to. And now you're going to try and raise the price of the game. That's not how you build value with a Game Pass. That's not how you do right by the customer. That's how you feed into the shareholders and your higher ups.
Right.
And that's the thing that grinds against me. That's the thing that as a consumer, I'm like, no, I don't appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Now, looking at what Christopher Dring said in his conversation with Matt Piscatella, Xbox is about to put more of their content onto other platforms. We'll find out in the coming weeks. And you have to imagine, I'm trying to keep my face neutral here. Starfield, Halo Master Chief Collection, and Halo. And that makes good sense. Those are good things to do. Put those things on the Switch too. Put them on PlayStation. Expand your market. There is no Xbox in the future. There is a box that has an Xbox on it, but PlayStation 6, next Xbox, all that stuff, the games are going to be in so many places. The hardware of choice is just the hardware of choice. So at this point, there is no reason not to put it out there. And so I'm very excited to see what shows up on Switch 2 because I want more people to love Halo. I really hope something happens with Starfield because that game needs a kick in the tail. Also, I think Todd should retire.
Dude, I've been saying it for years at this point. Starfield, their biggest failing with Bethesda, in just Bethesda, not the other studios under ZeniMax. Bethesda's biggest issue is that they rely too heavily on content creation from the community when they should be making the game that's compelling enough to make other people want to make video games, not make content for your game because you think that they can do it. But like, that's just a bad mindset to me.
We agree.
I don't go into playing Spider-Man thinking like, oh man, I can't wait to make my own Spidey suits or my own quests in this game. Or I don't go into what's a good RPG to kind of like bring this against.
I don't know, but stay on track here. You veered.
Sorry. Yeah. Getting back to it. Yeah. Seeing content come to other games like that. Like, I'm still waiting for Sea of Thieves to come over to Switch too. That's what I want. I want to be able to play my games anywhere on the hardware that I want and not have to worry so much about like, okay, well, whose ecosystem am I invested in right now? Because at this point, the ecosystem is my account login. Like that's the ecosystem that I'm concerned about.
Yeah. I was at the beach with my wife and her family this past week working on playing some Ninja Gaiden and a few other things. And like the few other things I wanted to play, I had to own in two places. My saves wouldn't travel in one of the cases and would in another. And in one of the cases, it would only go in one direction. And that's frustrating because Xbox has and they did an initiative last week where they said, you know, their stuff's going to go to more places more easily in the future. It should, because the box itself is just no longer the thing. But you know, if there is this nebulous Nintendo Direct in the next 2 weeks and we see something Xbox there, I hope so. And I hope it's Master Chief Collection. I hope it's Infinite. I want people to check out these franchises and love something I love. I just do. Like, if I love it, I want more people to play it because that means I get more of it. There's just no way around that. So I fully expect, with Forza Horizon 5 being one of the best-selling games on PlayStation, bar none, that and Call of Duty being multi-platform and Doom being multi-platform, and why not? It's weird that Avowed isn't at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Grounded 2 is a little bit of an oddity because it's a game preview title. But like, it's weird that they're not multi-platform now at this point.
I fully anticipate like an announcement for other, like, I know everyone's kind of like waiting for the shoe to drop with Halo. But I would not be surprised if South of Midnight is the next one that they announce is coming to other platforms, because I feel like it's been enough time since launch that they've had the opportunity to do sales on it. They've had the opportunity for the marketplace to get to it. The news cycle has dropped down on that title, and that the way to boost that up again, to get the zeitgeist talking about South of Midnight, is to launch it on other platforms. And I think that much like Indie got a second life on PlayStation earlier this spring, and then subsequently with the announcement of DLC, I think South of Midnight's kind of like on that same track.
I hope so. One, I hope so, because South of Midnight, I loved the cast, I loved the music, I appreciated the art. I didn't really think the game was that great. It wasn't bad. Like, it was fun. It was fine. It was good.
Yeah.
Right. I think because you reviewed it, you were higher on it than I did. You did our official review, and then I did a mini review just because I felt like it. And I was like, it's fine. It's good. You know?
Yeah.
Cool. And you were higher on it.
I agree that the combat in the game was stale. to a point, I think. But I mean, it very much was the thing to get me to the next area and the next story. But that was the only thing that I could really say. Yeah. Otherwise, I think that game was fantastic. It was by far one of my most enjoyable game experiences this year.
Gotcha. That's cool. All right. We do. So Abdel dropping in saying, I heard Sony is going full third party though. That is our next topic, but we're going to read our patrons first, because, post trip, we've not been asking for super chats. And these people that have been in our Patreon have been supporting XEP since, and have been doing so in a steadfast way. So we want to thank them. Logan, I don't remember whose turn it is to read.
I don't either. Go for it.
All right. You can go and support XEP by going to patreon.com/Xbox Expansion Pass. And if you're at a tier 2 or 3 Patreon tier, then you can get your name shouted out on the show. We want to give a shout out to Meadow1606, Clutch Quando, Omen, Jesse Prius, Fatto, Aaron G, Nick Bentley, The Scarecrow, Ken Rosing, Fabian Winkler, Regis Stella the Brony Pirate, Rob Frawley II, Tao Zochi, Nicholas Johnson, Randall Thor 19, Hafrican, Game Positive, Jam Pack Sam, Matt Valdez, Red Beast, Dano 12, DJ Hero, Brendan Myers, aka the Winter Gamer, the Lord Sir Master James Suddy, and Sony's VP of Marketing, Kevin Butler. Thank you guys for supporting us, getting us through. We appreciate you all. Thank you guys so much. And take a look. I hear something, Logan.
Oh, yeah, that's upstairs neighbors.
Oh, okay, cool. Take a look next week because you'll have the Grounded 2 game preview review. And of course, check out the Grounded review if you haven't already, because we're trying to do right by you guys. All right. Logan, big news this past week. And I do think it is big news. Like, I genuinely think this is big news and a good thing for gaming. Sony is currently hiring for a new position that will help them expand PlayStation's reach beyond PlayStation hardware. The quote, beyond PlayStation hardware, is very important there. This is a job posting, and Sony is currently working on to bring games to platforms such as Steam, Epic Game Store, Nintendo Mobile, and Xbox. This is a very good thing, I would argue. If you look at the thumbnail for our own episode this week, I've got Spider-Man in the background. That's an IP that I think would do very well in more places for all the reasons, obviously. I think it's fantastic. I love to see PlayStation doing this because, as we've kind of alluded to in our previous topic, hardware is just less and less important, and your ability to access your account and games are what's important. I have to imagine that current market conditions played a factor in this, but also just the simple reality that Helldivers was like, nah, we're not going to stick with you. We need to go more places. Their sales on Steam had to be doing very well. And just the genuine interest by consumers who won't jump ecosystems, but will jump to play more games. Why not? Why not? In the route of PC porting, why not? We've got the trophy room in there saying, it's very small news. Please believe. Got to respect it. You got to respect it. The dedication. Yeah. So, yeah, I think this is great.
It's one of those things that, you kind of see the writing on the wall. Like Joe on the trophy room has been talking about it for a very long time, that they see the writing on the wall. If they want to make money, they're going to have to release their games on PC. And the conversation at that point is, okay, well, PC is getting like a 6-month lead time. They're getting a year lead time before those ports come over. That window has tightened more and more. Now with Helldivers 2, we're seeing that it's now being made multi-platform. So that is the first step for them going multi-platform. It started out with PC, with releases going over there to Steam. Now that they realize that there's money to be had there, they're starting to look at other ecosystems. We're seeing the Lego Horizon game come out on Nintendo Switch. So they're dabbling, they're testing. If things go well for them and they see profit, they will continue to make this something that they do. And we'll probably start to see some of the older titles that are second party, where those agreements can be adjusted, where they start to release some of those games like Returnal, like Dark Souls over on Xbox, moving their way up to some of the first party content like Horizon Zero Dawn or Days Gone, Ghost of Tsushima, depending on the value of those IPs. Stuff like God of War is going to be kind of like that Gears or Halo level of content that may take longer before they've exhausted all the other titles that they've had. And they have quite a few titles from the PlayStation 4 era to be able to bring over to Xbox. And I think a lot of Xbox fans would really appreciate that. Just like some of the people that have been on PC who've been enjoying that content come over. I would be very curious to see how these get ported. Helldivers obviously is going to be something where it's a little bit better quality because it's being done in-house with their ports, but we have seen other studios tackle some of the PC ports for PlayStation first party titles and have gotten quite a bit of flack for the lack of optimization and the quality dipping as you shift from a hardware level that is locked in to a varied experience with PC and the different types of hardware that people are running. So it'll be interesting to see what games start to trickle on down the line with something other than Helldivers. That's a multiplayer experience. And when those first party games come over, I imagine that they will probably be welcomed by the Xbox community, and Sony fans will hopefully see the boons of this in the form of sales for content that they love being reinvested in those IPs with additional titles coming in the future, because the funding is a little more certain when Sony can say, okay, well, we may not make back our money on PlayStation, but we'll definitely make our money back because of Steam and Xbox sales as well too.
So there's a logic, Logan, to putting your multiplayer titles in other places, right? There's a logic to that because you're going to expand your audience, you interact with them, crossplay. There's a lot of ways to increase spending. Helldivers is the good example, and Sony doesn't really have a lot of multiplayer stuff. But there is also a logic to giving your smaller stuff because it's faster and easier to port. Think Returnal. There is a logic as well that says hit with your heavy hitter, send Spider-Man over, send God of War over, send Astrobot to the Switch 2. And like, this isn't straight to Xbox. Astrobot on Switch 2 would kill. Spider-Man in both places would crush it. There's an odd feeling, right? Like God of War doesn't feel like it belongs on an Xbox or a Switch, but why not, right? And like, it's just, does Gears? I don't know, right? Like, again,
game.
It's a game.
We have to break down the mentality that IP is tied to a company, and we just have to, like, we see it with TV all the time. TV shifts networks all the time. It shifts streaming services all the time. We have to break away from the concept that the Crash Bandicoot is a PlayStation game. It's like, no, it is an IP that is being sold from one to another, and currently is now sold as an Xbox IP. But that's because that's who currently owns it. But that doesn't mean that that's where those games are going to live and die. That just means that that's currently who's in charge of developing for those IPs. So what again, talk about those logics and the IPs. What do you send in first? Obviously, Abdel gives his wish list: Nathan Drake Collection, Ratchet, God of War 3 Remastered, Days Gone, Spider-Man, and Concord. But like, what's the first? Subscribe to one of the logics. You're in charge of PlayStation. What do you send over next? Thank you, Game Seeker, for gifting an XEP membership. You are awesome, and you are much appreciated. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that you have Luke's profile pic on there as well too, without actually impersonating. Big thumbs up there. I think if you're Sony, then you start off with Horizon series, because I think that those are the ones that you need to use as the test bed. They're fantastic games, regardless of what the internet wants to make you believe about Aloy. And it's easy for them to kind of put that put that one out as the test bed. Honestly, I would love for the Uncharted series to shift over, and even more so, I would love to see a Nathan Drake outfit being made for the DLC for Indiana Jones. And I would love for the Uncharted series to get like the Indy fedora as like a nice little, like, you can have that as your profile or something, add that to like the Uncharted, so that you have that little crossover. You've got Nolan North and Troy Baker kind of shaking hands and making up after their little spout, and with that you've got two icons in both kind of adventure series with Indiana Jones and Nathan Drake. And it would just be kind of cool to see the Uncharted series get more life, as I think it's going to be even harder and harder for that series to make a comeback, to be able to have like more players getting a chance to do that. If you were going to look at Gears and think like, what's the equivalent to Gears, given how old the IP is and the older content that you have, I would say, yeah, bring Uncharted 1 through 3 over as a collection similar to Gears of War, and have, just swap Gears and swap Uncharted. I think both of those would be perfect experiences to be able to bring multi-platform.
Whatever they bring over, it needs to look good and play great. That's the big thing. So if that Uncharted 1 through 3 is the first they bring over, I hope they do some comfortable quality of life improvements. And they should follow the Xbox playbook of like, Xbox is gifting anyone that played Gears Reloaded the more modern version, or Gears Ultimate Edition is now becoming Gears Reloaded for everybody that played it. Do the same for your PlayStation gamers. That's what I think needs to happen there.
They did do that recently. Like they recently updated Uncharted 1 through 3 and Lost Legacy for the PS.
How recent, if you don't mind?
I mean, granted, it was like the last 5 years, but they did port those over, because there was a whole kerfuffle with like PS Plus redeemers don't get access to the new version, but they sold like PS5 versions of Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy as a bundle. But yeah, they've recently gone back and kind of bumped those up a little bit. I played through them, I think, at the start of the PlayStation 5 launch, and enjoyed the experience. I think the games are dated. I don't think the quality, like the visual quality and playthrough, was dated.
The only reason I say that is you don't want that to be your test bed and then get false indicators or lag indicators in your statistics. I've made a big point of studying data the last few weeks for my personal career, and it's been very fascinating to look at how much statistics can tell the wrong story, or how you can find a narrative in numbers when there isn't one. If you're looking for a narrative, you can usually find it, and that's not necessarily a good thing, right? Because you're bringing inherent bias with it. So,
well, it's like I say, the best way to tell how good a game is doing is look at the numbers on Twitch. That way you can instantly tell, like, if the game's popular, people watching it, right? So
what was when Starfield first came out, it was getting compared to another game like every time, and it was the most ludicrous comparison, because I don't remember if it was a PlayStation first party, but there was a game that came out. But Starfield is a single player finite experience that has a new game plus element, sure, but like you can play through the story and be done. And then you look over at the other one, and it's like this multiplayer experience. And I just remember people being like, yeah, Starfield's got none of the numbers that such and such has. And I can't remember the game, but it was just Abdel saying it was No Man's Sky, maybe.
Yeah. It was No Man's Sky and Outer Worlds were the two comparisons. And I actually made an argument that Outer Worlds is a better Starfield because it's more concise and funnier.
Maybe. Maybe. This year was my first Obsidian game with Avowed.
Yeah.
Grounded 2 is my second. And I'm just like, oh.
They're good. They make good games. They're not like,
when I say they should be, I'm only talking about Avowed and not breaking NDA.
Yeah. That was awkward as hell. So yeah, I would I would say like no, the comparisons and stuff were definitely there. It's one of those things where now I've completely lost track. You totally derailed me on where I was going, but
Well, that's
Sony being a test bed with the Uncharted games, I think that there's a understanding that unlike The Last of Us 2 remake, collector's edition, however many times they've relaunched The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2, looking at the Uncharted series, they would want to do something to bump up the graphics or just make sure that they're on par with the expectations that most gamers have in 2025. But I would not begrudge them if they came out in a PS4 quality edition, if nothing was touched and they just wanted to port it over to another one. But I do think that it would be better if they actually went in and did that. That's why I think like Returnal would be a better choice to start with.
I will begrudge PlayStation if Spider-Man stays and other games go, because I don't care that Sony owns Spider-Man. I care that people have access to an IP that is beloved.
Well, they do. Sony's winning the console war, so most people probably own a PlayStation 4.
No one's winning the console war anymore. There is no console war. No one's buying an Xbox, and PlayStation's doing what it's doing, but it's setting itself up for a poor future. That's why this job listing exists. Plain and simple.
Did we even get into the job listing? Like, did we even?
Yes. That's how we started.
I don't even remember us like going into what the job listing said.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we said the relevant parts. I think I'm not going to go in and read off the resume requirements of it.
That's fine as long as you like covered that. I don't know. I was in a fugue state or something.
No, you participated, so
that's good. I'm glad. Thank you.
This is our okay, everybody.
I need more coffee.
We did mention that Battlefield 6 was announced. We did mention that that reveal is coming out soon. That'll be on July 31st. I will tell you, my source is the same as Joe's. So if you listen to Trophy Room, we know that Battlefield 6 plays really well. It's got a lot of good stuff going for it. Whether or not it is ready for release will be debatable. But you'll get that reveal on the 31st, set for an October release window. I don't remember if that date has been confirmed. Whether or not it sticks to it will be interesting. I believe the current reports are putting it in like early October 10th or so. Regardless, I know that what people are playing has been fairly well received. I also know that developers have been back and forth with them. I am not one of those people playing it. I just have sources. And by sources, I mean I know a person that is playing it. I think this is great. I'm glad Battlefield's making a return. I need Call of Duty to get the push. And without the push, Call of Duty can raise that price as much as they want. We do have the same source. You
guys, I don't know. I think they need to delay it, honestly.
How? You haven't even seen it or played it. What do you
mean? Jude, just look at the games that are launching in October. That is a busy schedule to be launching a Battlefield. That, if you look at most recent history, the last time they did this, not so good. Maybe change the playbook a bit. Maybe give it.
The playbook has been changed. That's what I'm telling you is that they have changed.
You can tell me all day that the game's going to be fantastic, but at the end of the day, consumers are only going to have like 1 or 2 games to buy in a month in their monthly budget. So you're going to tell me like in all the stuff that's coming out in October, Battlefield is going to beat most of that.
Are you asking me if it's going to?
I'm tentatively, yeah. I'll say like October has got quite a bit of awesome.
Ninja Gaiden.
Yep. Outer Worlds 2. Arc Raiders.
Those are 2 single player. Then Arc Raiders is a PvE game, right?
Yep. Tentatively Call of Duty, because Call of Duty is usually October, November.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually November.
Call of Duty does not. Sorry, Battlefield does not beat Call of Duty.
That's what I'm saying.
But Battlefield beating Outer Worlds and Ninja Gaiden, absolutely. Like maybe not week 1, but the Battlefield will scale up. The others will scale and then plateau. Battlefield will go up for a while.
Right, but I'm not talking about how good the sales are. I'm talking about how many people are going to spend the money on it.
A
Like,
lot. I think a lot.
I'm not talking about like, is it gonna sell X many copies? I don't care how many copies it sells. I'm saying if people have to choose between A and B and they have money for one, or it doesn't matter if it's a multiplayer game or if it's a single player game, they're going to choose the game that they want to play. And that's where you have to look at, like, okay, what are they going to spend their money on? Not how good it is or how many copies it is or if it's single player or multiplayer. None of that stuff matters. It's what do you want? What do people want to play? And if that is something they want to play, they're going to spend the money on that.
I think the argument that fall is crowded is a valid argument, but that's always going to be the case. October is not crowded for the genre. And people aren't spending their money on Directive 8020 Keep or Jurassic World Evolution or even Ninja Gaiden 4. They might spend their money on Outer Worlds. Again, I'm not dunking on Outer Worlds, but this is not the same caliber. You're talking about echelons of interest that are very different. And I'm telling you right now, like, Battlefield is a big deal for this one. This is their make or break. Yes, they got to get it right. Yes, but
it doesn't make it good. It just means there's more weight on it.
I'm not arguing that there's not. What I'm saying is we have all indicators that this is doing well in production, and it's very much
Ghost of Yotai, October.
I feel like those are I will grant the argument of money spent in the moment. But the people that are buying a Battlefield are not buying Ghost of Yotai en masse. Obviously, there's overlap in the interest group.
I think there's going to be plenty of people who would play both of those games, but it's going to come down to which experience do they want to get first?
Battlefield. They're going to want Battlefield. They're going to want Battlefield. Let's make a bet. Hey, let's do a bet.
No, because we don't have any numbers to support the evidence to tell which one is which, but it is going to be anecdotal that I'm willing to bet that more people are probably going to want to spend money on like Battle or Borderlands 4 or Ghost of Yotai than they will Battlefield.
I am here for a bet. I will bet you right now that Battlefield sells better. Pick a game other than COD.
You can't bet on that because we're not going to get the numbers. There's no way to prove it.
Pick whichever one you think is gonna do well. Like, say none of these are Game Pass games, so it's not like they're gonna be subscription based. Like, we got million players.
What do you want to wait for the EU numbers to come out?
If you hit 1 million play, they're gonna come out on their socials and be like, "We congratulate, thank you."
But that doesn't mean that the other ones are. There's no guarantee that any of these companies are going to release the numbers on them.
If you think, I talked about gamers en masse, meaning mass groups. I think you're being crazy right now.
First off, I don't bet normally. I'm not a gambler. Secondly,
if you don't think that a game is like Outer Worlds 2 isn't going to thank 1 million players, or Arc Raiders is going to thank 1 million players, or Borderlands 1 million players, then you're wrong. Like, no way. And Battlefield is going to come out and thank X amount of people. They're not getting them on early. They're not getting them on subscription services. So pick a game that you think is going to go toe to toe with Battlefield, and I'm telling you,
no.
It's I don't
bet. It's a stupid bet.
I think you're on the losing end of it.
No, I don't think I'm on the losing end of it. It has nothing to do with that. It's a stupid bet because there's no way to guarantee that we're going to get accurate numbers to be able to predict which one of these is going to do well. You can't gauge all of the markets. We don't get marketing numbers for all regions, and we get like, sometimes companies will come out and announce like they're grateful for X number of people playing their game. Like, that doesn't guarantee that we're going to see all of that, like, for every game that comes out in October, to be able to compare and contrast. The data isn't there, so there's no point in betting because you can't definitively say who was the winner.
You're telling me that, but let me make sure I'm trying, because everything I'm thinking is there absolutely is. So I'm telling you that Battlefield is going to do very well regardless of a crowded window at its launch. It's going to do well. And you're telling me that people are going to buy Ghost of Yotai, good example, more than they're going to buy Battlefield.
Or Borderlands 4.
Borderlands 4 is amazingly going to outsell all of them, but that's in September. Like you talked about October. Borderlands 4 is September 12th.
Did they announce that? Okay.
I believe so. I just looked it up, so it should be.
My website's out of date then.
Well, when I pull 2K, it says September 12th. Switch to it a later date. Now, unless they moved it, right? So, because Borderlands, I think, outsells it, but I don't think anything else outsells it in October. Arc Raiders is probably your best bet.
Like, I mean, we can have a difference of opinion and not put money down on it. I don't like gambling.
It's impossible. It's impossible.
I don't.
We're not betting. We're not betting like to put money in our pockets. It's like $10 extra.
I don't care.
All right, whatever.
I think it's a dumb bet. I think it's asking us to have data that we don't have access to. So it's going to be scrubbing the internet to try and find out, like, are they going to announce how many numbers they do and this and that? It's like, no, I don't think that Battlefield. I think Battlefield's reputation has a lot to prove on that, and a lot of people are going to have to say that this is the most amazing thing before people will pony up another $70 or $80 to buy this installment when they know they've got other good games coming out in this season, and that October still has a lot of games coming out, and that people may prefer those, which are more solid experiences than what's currently going to be like on the market.
I guess. Like, I'm not. I don't. We peruse. We scrape the internet for data all the time. That's what we do.
Yeah, but the sales numbers aren't conclusive. Like we can say that, like, okay, well, they made an announcement about X number of people playing their game. That's about as conclusive as we're going to be able to get.
I'm just curious.
Being rational is not being afraid to lose, Joe. That's just being rational. If they release the numbers on a regular basis and we could actually compare like full market data, then I would have a better idea on it.
All right. So you don't want to bet. No worries. I don't actually. Sure. Not a big deal. For just contextual anecdotal data, Ghost of Yotai's announced trailer was 10 months ago. That has 7.4 million views on YouTube.
Yeah, but how many views on Twitch?
Can I finish the sentence before you go?
It's so stupid to be comparing all this.
Battlefield on YouTube, 7.3 million 4 days ago. So what I'm saying to you is
that's
on
conclusive.
The metric, they're both on YouTube.
So conclusive.
10 months ago. One was 3 days ago.
I want to look up how many people have been talking about it on the Reddits. How many subreddits do they have? Go look up the upvote on subreddit and then compare and contrast those numbers.
Oh, bud. Okay. All right.
How many likes on X does Ghost have compared to Battlefield? I want some conclusive market data.
I just think it's very strange to think that Battlefield's not going to.
I think it's stupid to look at these numbers and think that they are any kind of indicator on what actually matters.
Do that all the time. We do that all the time.
I'm not saying it's not stupid though.
Oh boy. All right. Anyway, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora is getting a third-person mode this December, right ahead of the next Avatar movie, which is coming out apparently. That's neat. I hope it's better than the water one. But I'm really stoked because Frontiers of Pandora was a very well-received game, but I just didn't get into it at the time. But a third-person mode would be pretty darn cool.
I think that's numbers on that.
Now, Logan, you know that major games do not release conclusive sales numbers, and we'd be silly. Don't go scraping the internet for information.
We use these numbers all the time. I want to know how well it did. Is it worth talking about? Do we ever have a threshold?
Oh my God. I don't know. I think that's really cool. Weird. It's nice to see that Avatar, a good game from Ubisoft, is getting some love and getting another update. Assassin's Creed Shadows is also getting DLC this fall. I like that because Avatar and Shadows are both good, positive stories for Ubisoft at a time when Ubisoft really is just not great. So those are nice things for those fans to get as definitely. Well.
Oh, Joe has a conclusive market evidence here that 2.7 million units were sold for Avatar. I think that beats Astrobot, but I don't know for sure. It definitely beats ARMS from Nintendo Switch. So I appreciate the numbers there for Trophy Room coming in clutch.
I don't know why you chose to die on this hill, because our next story
Because you
is
kept saying bet, 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 bet.
I'm just saying, like, there's no oh god, whatever. Interestingly, on socials, Oblivion Remastered, they said that they got 9 million players. Now, they didn't say sold because it's available on subscription services. Crazy. But they came out and said, hey, we hit this milestone. And I think that's really cool that that team had 9 million people play their game. And that's awesome. I'm happy for them. Good job, Bethesda. That's how you do it. Well done.
Good job. I appreciate finding out that 9 million out of the 30 some million players who had access.
Who pissed in your cornflakes today, man?
God. You did. You started this. Don't open the can of worms.
I'm right.
Don't open the can of worms and not expect worms.
I'm right. I don't understand.
No, you can be right about it winning. You can be right, but I'm not going to bet when I can't get conclusive evidence. That's the difference. It has nothing to do with whether or not I'm right or wrong. It's whether or not the bet would be valid.
We have bet.
Are there any other shows
for Extra Life support? I don't understand.
Yeah, because there's those are ones. It's like, is it going to release a physical edition? That's conclusive. You can conclusively say, yes, it did release with a physical edition, or no, it didn't. Like, those are things that you can actually bet on, because you can say for sure whether or not it actually is going to happen. You can't say this game sold more than another game unless they announce it, and they don't always announce it. That's my point. That's why I'm saying it's a bad bet. It has nothing to do with who would actually win.
Okay, definitively yes or no before we put this to rest, because I thought we moved on every day. All right, so definitively, does Battlefield do well in October? Because that was how this all came up.
I think that it would struggle more. Going back to the whole point of why I was saying this, I think it would do better in a different month. I think it would do better in a January when there's less competition. That was the whole point of my statement.
We talked about January with a bunch of games earlier this year. That's not doable for most devs because they have to work through December to release. That was the argument for that one, remember? Because we did go through that logic.
But I mean, if they're ready in October, there's no reason they can't polish till January.
Okay. Let's see here. 9 million plays. This was interesting. Halo Infinite 2025 will be its last Halo Championship Series. They are putting the game to rest, as it were, in the competitive space. They do anticipate bringing Halo Championship Series coming back. The Halo World Champions is coming back, but it will not be in 2026. So you can anticipate 2027 or later at the earliest for the Halo Championships. I think that is fantastic. Good. Let it breathe. Let it calm down. You don't need to force a competitive scene when there isn't one. Allow that to exist in other spaces. There's no reason to say it won't come back later on. But I think that's interesting. Not a bad thing, though. What's your take on that?
My heart goes out to the esports people who spend their entire day practicing Halo, who are not going to have official tournaments to be able to win prize pools for in 2026, because that is effectively laying off the esports crews who are going to have to move over to other games at this point. So that kind of sucks. Subsequently,
do you feel bad for? Okay, hold on. I have a question. This is a logic question. You can apply it to anything. It's recently been a topic in the WNBA. Do you think pro scenes should exist when they are consistently failing to generate interest and profit?
I think having them is a good thing. I think that we have yet to see gaming is tough because esports and gaming, because I follow a lot of esports. I was just watching StarCraft 2's Korean esports tournament this week for drops, because it's one of those things, man. Like, esports is it's a moving target. Like, you are constantly having to look at the next games that are coming out, what's going to be good. Should you build up an esport around it? Will the game support an esport around it? Then you have to take into account teams that are invested, signing on gamers to be on the team to be able to do that esport. Is the prize pool there? Do they have management? Is there a stipend for it? Like, Heroes of the Storm used to do their esports. They used to have a $20,000 stipend for any pro player on a team to earn each year as a baseline outside of tournament money, that would get split up amongst the team. With things like Halo, it's I mean, they had multiplayer, it's like PUBG or Call of Duty or Fortnite. Like, there's esports that will persist. To me, it sucks that they fail, but I think that's because there are just so many games, whereas there is a national level of sports for basketball, and people really only care about the highest tier, right? Like, people watch NBA and they watch WNBA. They don't watch the lower divisions. They sometimes they'll watch collegiate, and collegiate is like the next tier below pro. But any of the smaller, same thing with like hockey. People don't usually watch like the third ring hockey matches unless they know someone in there or they're fans of it and just it's local and they want to go there. They'll watch the NHL games, but they won't watch like second ring or third ring player games.
I think locally they would, like, their interest to local groups, but not on a national scale. Okay, make sure I'm clarifying your understanding.
Yeah. So it's like you look at esports in the same way. You've got Halo at the top. You've got like Fortnite at the top and Call of Duty at the top of like esports. Those should be your staples that stick around forever. Anything below there is going to depend on the quality of the game, how well it's doing, the support, and then the investment from other people getting into that esport, which is tough. Because you look at like Overwatch 2, Owl was doing, there was a huge initiative by Mike Morheim to be able to push Owl to make it an esport. They built an entire stadium for that esport, and it panned out because things came out, other stuff moved on, like gamers moved on. So it's tough to see esports failing, because I think that it's something that we should have. It's one of the things I'm actually really, really love about gaming, and not having that sucks. Because there's times where it's like, I look at the Halo championships. I watch the tournaments with one of my buddies from time to time on the weekends, and we just sit back, we just watch the games, and we just hang out and chat and enjoy the experience. And not having that for 2026 means that those gamers are probably going to have to move on to other games, and you're losing talent at that point, unless there's a resurgence. Like, there's no reason for them to keep esports, and it's just one more thing that's going to die. And it's not even, and it goes out with a whimper. It doesn't even go off with like a big tournament that they call like their WrestleMania. It's like, no, we're just not going to do it. And it's like, oh, why? What was like, it had value. It just may not have been the monetary value that I think companies look at all the time when adjusting this, which is why it's such a pain in the butt that you look at regular sports and see that like men are getting paid way more, because that's the one where everyone goes to watch it, compared to women, which is just as good a quality, but because they're not getting the FaceTime on TV to be able to showcase like the shows, like they're the matches, it's like they just aren't as popular. And I hate the pettiness that's involved with how these have to make money to exist. So yes, it does bug me.
And I know, I understand the argument, because I think I was on that side at one point. But in big picture, I don't think that's the case. I think it's fine that Halo stops. I don't think it was doing any brand help or support, and that competitive scene will return just as it always does, with new generations and new interests and such. I don't even think Halo was a big deal in the competitive space any longer. Could have been. Might have been, but just didn't.
I mean, they had Twitch drops going for pretty much every single tournament.
Yeah, they have Twitch drops for lots of games, though. Like, I don't think that's necessarily an indicator, because you pay to get Twitch drops. But I think, I don't think Halo was done any favors by Infinite, regardless of the game's current quality. Like, I think Halo Infinite's a great game. But the Halo brand is just supremely damaged. The show didn't help it in any way, shape, or form. Infinite's launch and subsequent failure to give content didn't do it any favors. So I am pro them getting a break. To give the whole brand a break unless it's coming out on Switch.
I guess my issue is that it doesn't take anything outside of the production aspect of it to keep Halo multiplayer tournaments going. Like, you don't require the devs to balance anything. You could stop the balance and it'll actually improve the meta of the game because people will find their own metas. People have been doing it for StarCraft 2 for the last 10 years. But if you take away the competitive aspect of Halo, and there's no single player content to drive the IP forward or keep it in the mindset of gamers and like why Halo is relevant, then you fall into this gap of like, well, why do I even care about Halo? If they're not going to support it with esports and they're not going to support it with content and story, then Halo truly is dead at that point.
But I think right now, that's okay. Like right now, that's all right because there's nothing to bring people in. They finished Infinite's story in a book, right? Mind you, like anyone watching, like I love Halo. It's everything to me.
I don't think
as a brand, it's pretty much shot right now, and it needs resuscitation. Let it have a good resuscitation movement after it.
I don't know why I don't know why one has to die for the other to be born. Like, it's not a phoenix. Like, you don't have to have Halo Infinite die just because you want to bring out a new Halo game. You could release another Halo game and still have Halo Infinite going on. Hell, there's still people playing on Master Chief Collection to this day who don't care about Halo Infinite because they like the Master Chief Collection and stuff. And I just don't know why, like, why does Halo have to take a break so that the next Halo could succeed because people aren't sick of Halo? It's like, weren't we getting these games like every other year back in the day? Like, didn't Halo come out and then Halo 2 come out right after and then Halo 3 come out right after? And it's like, it stayed relevant.
I mean, I get the point. I just don't subscribe to the logic. I do think you need to put something to rest sometimes in order for people to move on from it or to let go of something and they see returns on it. Like, again, I see the logic that you're proposing, but I just don't think that's how it works.
You got to grieve for Halo Infinite? Is that what's going on?
I think sometimes you have to let old things go so you can embrace new.
Halo Infinite is like 5 years old.
Yes, so why not let it go?
It was supposed to be a 10-year game.
Yeah, but they abandoned that long ago and they didn't do story. They didn't do expansions. They had all these things built into it. They finished it in a book, man.
So them quitting Halo makes it okay for you to want Halo to die.
What? That's not what I said.
I'm asking. Like,
no, I'm saying if they've already quit Halo,
yeah,
why keep the championship going? They've already abandoned it. They're on to do new projects.
Well, yeah, but okay, with esports, when you're not making balance patches, that's when you start to see the true meta come out because there's not adjustments to what weapons are strong or what weapons aren't. The more stable a balance cycle is on a game that you're doing esports for, that's when you start to actually see some of the real pro play come out because they can hone their skills in on certain weapon sets and actually really, like, you get to see like the upper echelon of skill.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in I'm seeing like the folks saying like, yes, I agree. Halo esports, not the biggest. Call of Duty, Fortnite are the biggest, but those are the biggest games in general. But if you're going to let Halo die, like that to me is a shame because it's like, at least people had the esports aspect to it to keep things interesting because you weren't getting story. So multiplayer was it. And if that goes away, then it's like, okay, well, I guess we're just going to not care about Halo. And as a Halo fan, it's surprising from my perspective to see you, as big of a Halo fan as you are, to be okay with that.
Because I think Halo as a brand is limping so badly that it has to be allowed to fall so you can rebuild it.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Interesting.
So. Interestingly, also, Dying Light the Beast transitioning out was delayed 1 month. This is interesting. They're going from August 22nd. They will now launch on September 19th. I got to see this firsthand while we were at SGF. This game looks beautiful, incredible. They had a hands-on time for me while I was there that they made for me, but then we had to leave because of the protests and stuff. We wanted to get back to our hotels safely. So I ended up going and sitting in with somebody else's season gaming session the next day. And man, Dying Light the Beast looks good. And I loved the second Dying Light. Really loved that game. I have not played the first in so long. I couldn't tell you how I feel about it, but everything about the Beast looked amazing. It looks like this delay is just so they can do last minute cleanup work, as it were. What's interesting to me is to our whole discussion about crowded windows.
Yeah.
September is already has some heavy hitters with Borderlands 4 being there. So interesting to see it happen. But again, I don't think they always compare because they're two different genres of game. I'm stoked for this game. I don't know that I'm going to be buying it. Again, money's tight and games are expensive now. So if we don't land coverage codes, which we may not just because you and I'll be so busy. It's not like we're making videos in that window of time. That's a tough spot to come out, but that game's gonna be good. That game is already good.
Yeah. It'll be curious to see how well this does, considering Dying Light 2 did really, really well for them. Hopefully, I mean, based on what we saw, and you got to play it, but I only got to watch the trailers. I thought it was compelling enough for me to stay away from it because it looks scary, and I was like, I don't want to mess with that. So I hope it does well. I think them delaying it in competition with Borderlands is going to be tough for the casual audience who only buy 1 or 2 games a month. But at that point, like if they have to delay it, I'd rather them delay it and have it come out in a better state than have to keep it in that time window because of less competition and have it released in a weaker state.
Yep. One of the games that you sent me the trailer for this one, Marvel Cosmic Invasion, is later this year, and they announced that Beta Ray Bill and Silver Surfer are going to be playable characters, and Silver Surfer, I think, going to turn a lot of heads, particularly in the wake of the new Fantastic Four movie. That game's really good. I've been playing a lot of tribute / oh my lord, .emu games. Again, I'm working on Ninja Gaiden Ragebound right now. They don't miss when it comes to quality. I played this one at SGF as well. I'm stoked for this, and it's cool to see Silver Surfer get some showcasing.
Yeah. I don't know the difference between the Silver Surfer in the Fantastic Four movie or the Silver Surfer that's in this one. This Silver Surfer is the one that I'm familiar with based on the X-Men show, which I think is where the character design is coming from. But it was cool to see that they're continuing to surprise us with little new kind of like cameos of new characters that are coming in. I'll be very curious to see if they keep doing that post-launch. But excited for you to be able to jump into this, and for fans that have been wanting like a true kind of like sequel to that old X-Men arcade game, this really does look like it's just ripped out from that same kind of design philosophy.
Yeah, agreed. I'm stoked for it. I cannot be more excited for it just because they are surprising us. I hope we get a Daredevil in there because I want a playable Daredevil somewhere. Just because he's such a cool character. But I love seeing Silver Surfer make an appearance because we haven't had a playable Silver Surfer in a very long time. I can't even remember, actually. It was one of the old 8-bit games, I think. All right. Oh, go ahead.
It would be really interesting. I've seen a couple game designs like this, but I think it'd be really interesting if for online multiplayer, if you played as Daredevil, your entire screen was black except for the movement from enemies that you had to base off of, and that you had like a slight kind of red hue to everything. Just it's like they completely designed it around Daredevil's like vision and how he sees the world, and instead of like what you would think would be the normal. But I think that would be so far outside of what people would expect that it would fail.
That's a take. I think it would be really cool, but I feel like it would change everything about the game. That'd be its own game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like a Daredevil game that you're navigating the world.
Yeah,
with everything that comes from like his perspective.
yeah,
That'd be interesting. Sorry.
would make a good VR game. No, I agree. I agree. No, like I'm with you on. I just don't think it's this game, and clearly the chat agrees. Like there's stuff to it. All right, Logan, go to our questions section in our Discord because I went there to go pull our questions and there are 48 comments. Like, oh,
is that overwhelming? Okay. I'm sorry.
Yes, it is. I'm gonna pull Kevin Ainsworth comment and you can pluck through as well. This one comes from Kevin Ainsworth. And he says, am I the only one that thinks everyone is jumping the gun on PlayStation going third party and copying Xbox? From a business perspective, it doesn't make much sense. And reducing it to they like money seems way too simplistic. I think you are completely wrong in the idea that they like money is too simplistic. That's exactly why they exist. They like money. They're a company. They're looking at making money, and they've got all the statistics and numbers to show what's going to generate the most money for them. And they've had so many misses of late that obviously they're looking at metrics from the MLB The Show being on Xbox, from Xbox content selling on their own charts. When you look at Forza Horizon 5 and see that it's topping out on games sold for everything in PlayStation land, that is indicative that there is interest among other, if you want to call them rival consumer bases, that people will pay for it. In my own personal anecdotal stuff, I love TMNT Splintered Fate. That was an Apple exclusive for so long. But when it hit Switch and PlayStation and Xbox, that's when it started selling gangbusters. People weren't going to go play it on X platform, but they wanted to play it. So I don't think it's too simplistic. I think they do like money. That is their purpose. And I think it's a very good thing for the industry that they are no longer holding out. That is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I feel like with I don't think that people are jumping the gun on PlayStation going third party. I think that the writing's been on the wall for a while, and we did touch on this a little bit beforehand. I think it's an inevitability. I don't think it's a question on if. I think it's a question of when, and we're just kind of like all. In some cases, it's like, yes, we are putting the cart before the horse. We're saying like, okay, well, what are the franchises that they should bring to Xbox? It's like, well, they haven't even really announced anything beyond Helldivers 2. So should we really be like making our wish list now? There's no certainty that that's the thing that's going to happen, kind of thing. But
the job listing is pretty indicative of direction.
True. Yeah. But I mean, that's, you can hire someone to kind of work on something, but not see if it's going to be something that ever pans out. Like people get laid off all the time. So there's no guarantee that just because you hire someone for this kind of a role means that that's where it will ultimately work out. We're seeing the smoke and drawing conclusions. And I think when we start to see more first party titles come over, that will say like, okay, yeah, there's definitely a fire here. But that is, it's one of those things where we think that it's just an inevitability at this point. And I think that is very much just going to be something that happens, which is why I think everyone's just kind of like moving on to the, okay, well, Helldivers for sure kind of like solidifies it. Like they were already okay with going to PC. That was the test bed. It's working. Now they're going to test it out with Xbox. If it works there, they'll keep bringing more and more titles before eventually it's just one of those assumed PlayStation and Xbox are now third-party publishers as well as first-party producers. So it's like, I don't think that it's necessarily jumping the gun, but I do see his perspective on it. At the end of the day, I think it really does come down to Sony is looking to recoup costs for the cost of games that they're investing in. And this is an easy way for them to do it. I think the people that are going to, or I think the reputation that's going to be damaged here is a personal one on the console side of the fan base, where they invested into hardware thinking that what they were going to get was the supreme experience for these exclusive titles. And when they start to see stuff go on to PlayStation or go on to PC, they no longer have the same value add as when it was only on console. They no longer have the same value add as when it goes over to Xbox, because now other people are going to be able to buy those games on other ecosystems, which devalues the investment mentally or monetarily in the hardware that they bought when it first came out.
Yeah. All right. One of the things that somebody was asking about on our socials was No Rest for the Wicked, which is Moon Studios' game, likely skipping Xbox.
Yep.
Makes sense. There's fewer Xboxes on the market, and they're a small studio. It's the same reason that Avowed didn't hit PlayStation day and date. Small studio, resources. It's strange because Moon Studios did make Ori, and Ori was second party, but a first party IP, whatever. That said, it makes sense. I thought it was kind of much ado about nothing, only kind of an oddity, but not a big deal.
There was some tweets that were going around about how someone said that they won't be supporting the game because it's not coming to Xbox, where that's where their ecosystem is. And the head of Moon Studios came back to say that that was an entitlement, to which the person replied, yes, I am entitled to spend my money where I want. Which I think is a very consumer focused mindset, which is the point of a consumer, is to be cautious with your money. And if games aren't going to be coming to the platform that you're currently on, studios saying that they can't afford to bring the game to that ecosystem just because of a cost analysis is fair for the studio. Like, if it's not going to make them money and they invest thousands of dollars in trying to get that game ported over to an ecosystem where it's not going to make them money, then it's on them to make that kind of a choice. Do they do it and risk losing the studio because they wanted to make sure they were everywhere? That doesn't make much sense. They're not first party, so they have to be cautious about that kind of thing. But at the same time, there's no reason for someone who is playing on Xbox to want to support or invest in another ecosystem just to play that game because they're fans of the studio.
Right. I think in this case, they're both right. Like, it's fine to be consumer focused if you're a consumer. It's fine to, if you're the developer, put it where you're going to be able to maximize your output. And it's just a case where both people are right. Maybe their wording sucks, or they shouldn't communicate in the way they did. Well, but the logic stands.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, this would be the equivalent of a customer satisfaction survey that was like done anonymously. If you were to, like, if you were going to buy No Rest for the Wicked on Xbox, would you buy it day and date with PlayStation and Nintendo, or would you be okay waiting? And people would be like, well, if I have to wait, I'm not going to buy it. That's the kind of thing that happened. But because of the aggressive words that were used on social media where there is anonymity, it was effectively like turned into a little spat. But like Nissa says in chat, they aren't technically skipping Xbox. They're just not releasing day and date with PlayStation and Nintendo. They are going to be releasing it later on if that's something that they can justify.
Yeah. Yeah. Alrighty, Logan, anything that we have not covered that you would like to before we depart, my friend?
Nazis being a relevant conversation in the United States of America. I'm glad that Wolfenstein is getting a series on Amazon following the success of Fallout series. I'm looking forward to seeing BJ Blazkowicz make his debut in show form. And I really hope that the guy that you want for the next Batman from the Reacher series gets to play BJ. Because
Alan Richardson,
Alan Richardson, I think, would be a fantastic Blazkowicz.
You know who else would be?
Who?
Cavill.
Yep.
Like that big hunkering, don't change your face. That's his thing.
But he's busy with Warhammer. Leave him to Warhammer. I want to see him in Warhammer.
Warhammer is a tough IP to translate. Or let me rephrase. Warhammer itself is a big IP and very complex. But if you just reduce the scope, you got a really good thing you could do there. But my impression is that Cavill is so staunchly dedicated to the lore of The Witcher that it got in the way.
Yeah.
And I think Netflix also got in the way. Amazon has reduced it from the Warhammer stuff from a film to a streaming service debut, which not good for Cavill, right? Not good for Cavill's, I guess you would say.
I'm sure he's got enough money. He doesn't care.
Yeah, I don't think it's about money. I think it's like the ability to throw weight around to get projects, because he was Superman, no longer Superman. He did Witcher. He did some other like solid movies. The biggest thing was probably a backup character in Mission Impossible, and
the Wolverine.
The Wolverine cameo.
Wolverine.
Oh God, I loved it. But I think he'd be a good Blazkowicz because of the stoic nature of his character. But I agree, Alan Richardson also perfect. And they work together on a movie. It'd be cool to see them both there. I'm stoked because if they get the quality of Fallout, then that's a great pickup. Plus, like, there's a lot of things you could do with that timeline.
Oh, I would love to. I can't wait to find out what the Wolfenstein show is gonna dive into. I as long as I get to see them punching Nazis, I'm gonna be pretty happy with that, because I feel like that's got to be like a lot of the show, and I'm totally fine with that. And I think that Alan would be a good pick for punching people.
Yeah. Anyone punching Nazis is going to be good television.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
So that's all. That was the only other thing I can think of. As much as I want to talk about other stuff, we have to wait a week, and it'll be a really good episode next week when I actually get to talk about the stuff that I want to talk about.
Yeah. Oh, dude. You know, we're going to talk a lot because I have a lot to say, and I'm not reviewing it. So, yeah. But I do hope people enjoyed that interview. That was a big deal. XEP. That was a big deal.
Yeah, it was nice to get, and they have a Q&A out as well too. So definitely, if you guys have, if there was stuff that you wanted to know more about for Grounded 2, that is going to be a big game, I think, for a lot of people this summer, because I think it's like one of the biggest launches. I don't think there's anything else really coming out this summer outside of Donkey Kong.
This is weird, because to me August is not summer, but to a lot of people it is. You have Gears next month. I
mean, summer is September,
right? In terms of like actual season, but I mean mentality wise, like I don't think of August. Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying. But I think the next big thing is Gears to PlayStation. Well, Gears technically is a new release, but you know. And then,
are you going back?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll go back.
Oh, okay.
I'll go back to go back, because I haven't done that campaign since Ultimate Edition came out.
Yeah.
And I definitely love the multiplayer. I love Gears multiplayer. But I'll tell you this: after a few rounds of Gears, I'd rather play Helldivers, because there's new.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, am I playing Gears again? Yes, it's on my arm for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, I love Gears of War.
I mean, I got freaking Sea of Thieves on my arm. I'm not playing it every day, but you know,
Sea of Thieves hasn't been away for a while.
True, I've enjoyed it quite a bit as it's continued on its legacy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be jumping into Gears though. No, because I recently played through all of them and I enjoyed my time with them. So it's like, do I need to jump into this one because shiny graphics? No, I'm good.
It's funny how IP based that argument is, because do I need to jump into it because of shiny graphics? You literally played Mists of Pandaria because of its updates and stuff.
No, I'm playing it because I missed it.
Right, but why is it released? Because the visuals and such, and like that's the thing. It's so IP based.
It's like the whole premise.
Classic.
It's classic, like original.
Did they not clean up the visuals? It's exactly the same as it looked.
There's improvements that have been brought over, but the experience and the look is going to be the same.
Oh.
That's the whole point of classic, is that you get some of the quality of life with like the menus and stuff. You get the widescreen instead of like the 4:3. Yeah. But as far as graphics go, it's all the same.
Interesting.
That's why
that's a weird middle ground.
It's why. Well, it's because they know that there are people that like some of the things that have been brought to Warcraft over the years, some quality of life stuff, but people yearn for the original experience. It's why they're doing Overwatch Classic mode. So,
that's the same logic as Gears. Just, I mean, there's a visual fidelity, but like it's the classic experience.
yeah, I mean, the gameplay is the same, but the visuals are better. But the visuals on Warcraft are not better. It's not like they're 2025 graphics. It's their.
Did they clean the frame rates up?
I mean, the frame rates have always been available. Like, it just depends on the hardware. But gotcha. I mean, that's the difference between like classic. The design of classic is still the same as it was with its launch back in like 2010. Silkenit asking, I stopped at Cataclysm. Is it time to play Classic? I will tell you right now, having not played Mist of Pandaria through in a classic form, it is regarded as one of the highest expansions they've ever done. And if you stopped at Cataclysm, you should definitely give Mist of Pandaria a try, because it was the best expansion that they had since Wrath of the Lich King. But yeah.
All right, my friend. I think that about does it.
All right. Sounds good.
Let people know what you got coming out, where you can find it.
Embargo is the 29th for Grounded 2. I am working on that review as we speak. In fact, as soon as we get done here, I'm going to go right back into typing up the script for that, and seeing where I need to get more B-roll for the video. So far, it's shaping up to be a big review, because I'm probably going to touch on a lot of the aspects of that. But nice. That's coming out. Other than that, Keelhauled is doing its Gold Hoarder episode today. That'll be out on Monday for Sea of Thieves fans. And that's all that I got going on. Yeah.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic. I'm looking forward to your review. You were the right person to review this one. And I told the devs off air. I went into more depth off air. Just how excited you were, and they had very kind words for you. So it's
that's nice.
It's just cool to see that happening. Yeah. Alrighty, guys, that's gonna be it for us. You can find me on socials at Insipid Ghost, and we hope that you are supporting creators wherever they can, likes, shares, whatever it is on any of the shows that you like. Have a fantastic rest of your week, everyone. Take care.